Hello everyone, how are you all doing? I hope you all are fine. Alright, this is our 10th session on our lecture series on ethics, integrity and aptitude. Let's start with a quick recap. In the last session, we did this question based on 4 E's, that is the holistic competency. Okay, then we saw foundational values for civil services. What are the values which form as foundation for proper civil services? Okay, a proper civil servant. First one was objectivity. Okay, in it we saw its meaning. We saw how objectivity is crucial and in what places it is crucial. Okay, then we saw its role. All right. Then we saw how to inculcate objectivity in people. Then we came to integrity, the next value. We have already talked about it or touched on it in previous lectures, but we never studied it. Okay, so we studied it in the last lecture. We saw it in a holistic way. We saw how in the personal sphere integrity comes out to be, how in social sphere it comes out to be, how what it means in a philosophical way. Okay, we did not go into depth because this is not a philosophical orientation, but we just needed to understand what it means. Okay, and we saw integrity in civil services by taking the data from second ARC, government authentic source. So what it actually means to be or having high integrity in civil services. Then we saw okay, I missed this, I guess. Okay, so before integrity we saw objectivity in complex situations. Can it be maintained? Should it be maintained? So in the end we came on to we arrived at a term which is called as enlightened objectivity, that the person should be focused on fairness. Okay, they should be objective, but in the end they should be fair. They should go beyond the objectivity, beyond plain objectivity. Okay, then we started integrity. I apologize for the mix up. Okay, so then integrity, we saw the definition of it. We saw the relation between integrity, efficiency, corruption. Then we saw how to inculcate integrity. Okay, basic thing is training. Now in this session there is actually last time I did not give you any question, so just for a sense of break. Okay, there was no question. We will be taking up answer writing again this time. Okay, if you want please let me know. I'll compensate for that if you want. If you don't want, then it's okay. What I mean to say is I can discuss 2 questions also in one session, but I think it's fine. Let's take a break. It's okay, it's fine. So in this session we are going to start with dedication to civil services or dedication to public service. Then we will move on to tolerance. Then we will see empathy and compassion, and if time permits we will move on to then impartiality. All right, so let's get started. We are going to continue this only, foundational values for civil services, today starting with dedication to public service. Before moving on, I would like to again give you an orientation or a perspective how to deal with or what is the final aim of dedication. This is a quote by Margaret Chase Smith. She was a renowned politician in United States of America. Okay, their elections are also going on and just the result might be declared in few hours only. Okay, anyways, so public service must be more than doing a job efficiently and honestly. It must be a complete dedication to people and to the nation. That means public service. Okay, public service as a concept or as an action should not just be doing your job. It should expand itself to include the nation, that is the people, because those are the ultimate concerns. Okay, people are the end. Okay, basically delivering service to them, delivering good governance, delivering ethical governance to them is the end. People are the end, people are not the means. Sometimes people are also means, but mostly people are the end. We serve people in public service. It's not about the job, it's about the people. Okay, so this is a quote which you can use in introduction also or in conclusion also. We are going to see how to use in conclusion also. Okay, so dedication to public service. See, a simple definition is given over here, so we will try to understand it also. Okay, see, dedication basically means quality. Okay, a quality, it's a quality that you are able to give your time, attention, okay, entirely, not partially, entirely to a particular activity or basically action or a person. Okay, so dedication is the quality of being dedicated or committed to a task or a purpose, thought or action. All right, how you dedicate to yourself, how you dedicate yourself to anything? By giving your time and attention and thought process. Right. Sorry, dedication can also be said to be commitment with passion. We will briefly compare dedication and commitment. Okay, so so the definition, I hope definition part is clear. All right, so the other part of dedication is dedication to public service, which is our topic. This means that we put public over personal, that is public interest over personal interest, not just when it is easy but when it is hard, because when it is easy everybody can do it. Why do you maintain your values? When it is tested in the difficult situations, right? If you are honest, it is very easy to be honest when things are fine. Okay, let's say it is easy to help someone when COVID was not there. Now that COVID is there in our lives, we are more scared of interacting with people. At least many of us are, not many people, but so, okay, some people are obviously not scared, they're not taking it seriously, but some people are scared to interact. Now, can you help at that time? Like Sonu Sood helped. Okay, so at that time, if you dedicate yourself, then it matters. In easy times, everybody can do it. Like there is a quotation, right? If you give somebody real power, then only you will understand their nature. So in adversity also your real nature comes, your integrity comes into picture. How steadfastly you can hold on to your principles, your values. So dedication to public service, okay, it means keeping public interest above your personal interest, even when it is hard to do so. Okay, all right. Now let us compare briefly commitment and dedication. This will be a brief discussion because commitment is actually part of dedication. Okay, commitment is more of a formal thing, okay, like signing an agreement. All right, but this is not dedication. Dedication is more of an informal thing. Okay, it can be said that two people are in a committed relationship. Okay, in dedication you can say people are dedicated to each other. That gives you a higher sense of things. Okay, basically what I mean by this higher sense is that commitment plus emotions is dedication. So you, in dedication, it is formal, right? So you are doing just your job, but as we read it in this quote by Margaret Chase Smith, that you have to go beyond it. Okay, so if you go beyond your job, then it becomes dedication. So it takes a little bit extra, which is emotional involvement in your job. Okay, if we take an example like Bhishma Pitama from Mahabharata, he was committed to Kauravas. Okay, but he was not dedicated. Okay, so commitment is not bad. You will be doing your job. It's not a bad thing. Dedication is just going beyond basic commitment. Okay, because why it is important for civil services, we will see that. So that is why the value is dedication to public service, not commitment to public service. That is the reason, and this is the difference why it is dedication and not commitment to civil services. Okay, so this is the highest form of dedication. pardon me, highest form of commitment. Okay, so as I said, it is going beyond the job, it is going beyond the call of duty. This involves emotions, so it will have motivation. Okay, it will have resolve, courage. So dedication is also a base value. That means it can, or you can say it's an umbrella value. It includes other values also. Okay, but in commitment there is no such thing, emotions and all. You might have seen people who just go 9 to 5, right? Some people sit 9 to 7 sometimes. Okay, those are dedicated people. These are committed people. Again, there is nothing wrong with commitment, that those people are also doing their job, but in Indian scenario we need dedication more than commitment. Okay, so when you are dedicated, things flourish, or you flourish, or let's say if you are dedicated to some person, you flourish with that relationship. Okay, if you are committed, obviously things will work out, but sometimes it won't be as flourished as dedication. Okay, like example, code of conduct, it only needs commitment. All right, so this is the basic difference between commitment and dedication. It's most probably it's not going to be asked in the exam, but it is important for you to know why the syllabus said dedication in civil services and not commitment to civil services or public service. Okay, so dedication, we'll come back to this. Dedication can also be set to commitment with passion, or basically involvement of emotions. Okay, all right. Now we will study a little bit more about this because this is the topic obviously. So dedication means sense of duty becomes an end in itself. Okay, you do not do job as a means to earn money. Okay, you do the job as an end itself, that I want to do the job for the sake of doing the job. Okay, I don't want to do the job just for the money, I want to do it because it's important, because the job is important. Okay, and again, why we are studying dedication to public service and not commitment? Because India has a lot of issues. Okay, and there are many factors which we need to deal in the Indian public service, and to deal with them effectively we need dedication, we need dedicated civil servants, public servants. Okay, so there are a lot of distractions or issues which happen in India, we will see that. So to remain on the path of job, we need dedication, so that we do not get deviated from serving the public, which is the actual goal. Goal is service of public. So this is a ready-made answer for you, these last 4 lines, wherein if an answer comes or if a question comes, you can straight away write them. So when there are difficult circumstances, how the person can be dedicated? The person can dedicate themselves towards the constitution or the policies of the government. Okay, that will help the person in achieving the professional goal. This is the bottom line. Okay, so if you get any doubt in ethics paper, you get any dilemma, follow the constitutional morality. Okay, constitutional morality, try to follow that in any doubt. So this will help you, this will be your moral compass. All right. Now, okay, so just read this last part. Okay, the previous slide just got copied. Okay, so in India, civil services, why it is important? Again, first is that there are a lot of issues. Okay, so we need to prevent ourselves from getting deviated. So we need dedication. Second thing is that in India, the civil servants not only perform the normal managerial role or maintenance role, but they perform socio-economic development agenda. This is very important. Okay, so because of these two, we need dedication to public service. Now we will see the examples. Okay, straight away let's see examples. So there are general constraints which are written, so it is quite clear that there are financial issues, that sufficient funds are not there, human resources are not there, functionaries are not there. So such things are there. Such things are not there. So we have general constraints. Okay, and again, then we have hostile conditions like left wing extremism, Maoism area. Okay, Jammu Kashmir insurgency happens, northeast insurgency. So such conditions are sometimes not conducive to normal administrative work. So that is why people need to be dedicated, not just committed, to go beyond the normal job role and serve the people. Okay, upper social mobility role, we just read about it, that we have in India there are very social issues which the public servant deals with, and if the person is committed they will do it. But many times, like I've told you one example, that a person comes after the working hours, what will you do? Okay, and the person is old, they have come from a far away distance, what will you do? If you are committed, you will say please come tomorrow. Okay, but if you are dedicated, you might give more time to the person. Okay, so we have a lot of issues related to caste, class, community. Okay, to handle all these things, and become efficient public servant, dedication is needed. Simple commitment will not do, because on the first sign or the second sign of trouble, you will just simply accept that this is the caste reality, I cannot do anything. Yep. So extra effort is required in India for development. Basically, sometimes what happens, let me give an example. Many times police don't file the FIR outside the area, okay, outside their jurisdiction. Okay, or not exactly jurisdiction, but if the crime occurs outside their jurisdiction, they don't write the FIR in their own basically area. Okay, this is basically commitment but not dedicated. Again, like I said, I took this example because I told you just 4-5 minutes ago that commitment is not wrong, but dedication is better. As simple as that. This reminds me of a scene from Patal Lok TV series. Okay, the inspector from Delhi, I think Hathiram, I don't remember his name, he went to a place in UP, or to the place of that killer. Okay, this is like between third or five episode. So when that inspector from Delhi goes to the police station of that village, there is a crime which happened. Okay, there are 2-3 things. There is a local policeman, okay, and there is the policeman from Delhi. Okay, just to identify, I made this hat. So they both are watching the TV in the local police thana, and this person, the local cop, sees that a reporter is blaming a crime on UP government, but actually that crime happened in the Madhya Pradesh area. So this person immediately calls the company, okay, the television company, the news channel, and actually gives abuses to them that what are you doing? This is not our area. Okay, so such things happen. Okay, also during colonial rule, lot of destruction happened to our economy, and lot of social structure were solidified. Okay, due to which we need to be very sensitive to the needs of people, to the concerns of people. Okay, so this is why dedication is needed. Also, getting corrupt is quite easy and tempting, right? Black money flows like anything. So to remain unsullied, or let's say to remain honest, is quite difficult, and that requires dedication, not just a simple commitment. You will think that okay, this is part of the job. If you just follow commitment, you might think that this is just part of the job, but that is not so. Okay, again, here also there are many external and internal factors. External is your boss or senior or whatever person forcing you. Internal is if you are tempted, if your moral compass is not that strong, right? Punishment postings. Okay, many times people are punished for doing the right thing. Okay, they are given a posting in a small department which is not that important, but there also you need to perform well. Okay, you need to perform unwanted and non-exciting job with the same diligence, with the same energy like you were doing other jobs. Best example is Kiran Bedi. When she was transferred to the jail, she totally improved and overhauled the jail functions. Okay, so that is one example which can fit here. So in the just one thing I would like to mention, it is getting more easier to get corrupt because we have seen that people are becoming more hedonistic, more materialistic, and attitude toward corruption is becoming neutral. We are accepting it. Okay, all right. So this is a list of examples which we promised. Okay, although this is just one topic, we do take a lot of examples, but this I just wanted to give you in a very structured way. Okay, this is a list which I made. So you can see the examples of dedication to public service. You can choose any 2 or 3 out of it, totally your choice. Okay, so if let me read it for you. MG Rajamanikam carried rice sacks on his shoulder, okay, during Kerala flood. Okay, this was quite famous case study. Ashok Kemka, we all know about him. Smita Sabrawal, he fund your city project, okay, for infrastructure development. If you write name and the case, okay, that gives a another level of weight to your answer. Okay, Sonam Wangchuk, okay, although he is not a public servant, but he still did public service. He is just a normal citizen. Okay, Three Idiots, that character of Amir Khan is somewhat based on him only. Okay, Compassionate Kozhikode by Prashant Nair, Karan Gopinathan. Okay, again Kerala flood, 2 case studies from that. Armstrong Pame, People's Road. Okay, Miracle Man. Kudumbashri project, very important case study in GS2 also. OP Chaudhary, yeah. So he was posted in the left wing extremism area, infected area. Here he showed commitment and dedication. Okay, he launched a lot of educational projects which really helped tribal people. One of which was Chulo Asman. Chulo Asman. And he also got awarded on Civil Services Day by the Prime Minister. Okay. So basically, these are the examples of dedication. One more big example, okay. One of the only IS officer, okay, in India who has a statue by people, honored by people, okay, because see, he was very supportive of pro-poor policies. He was behind the abolition of bonded labor. He created special component plan for SC STs. Okay, he did not even marry. Okay, so that he could serve the society. All right, he also contributed to over 500 poor students education. Okay, so this is the thing. Anyways, one more example I would or one more line I would like to tell you, that nameless leader, becoming a nameless leader can also be one of the aims of a dedicated public servant, because they are not seeking popularity, they are seeking public service. Okay, recognition can come or cannot come, but they are not, that is not their end. The end for them is public service. Okay, also on dedication, question can come indirectly also, that discuss how dedication plays important role in success of government services. Discuss how dedication can play important role in success of government services. Okay, all right. So if a question comes on, since this is our value addition, I have tried to, okay, so in this course I have also tried to give you value addition. That is why I start every session except this one with an answer writing. Okay, because in main examination that will only matter. I can teach you a lot of things, but if those things you can't connect it to answer writing, there is like no benefit, to be frank. All right, so again we study I have designed this course in such a way that the way we have to study for UPSC exam, the course is also structured in that way, that we first try to understand what it is. Okay, then we study its examples, then we study the conclusion or the perspective which we should take after studying a topic. So that is very important, so that you understand, if in the test, in the examination, if a new question comes, you know that okay, I've studied this topic and this is the perspective that was taught by the sir in the PPT, all right, or in this lecture series. So you get a perspective, and that makes it easier for you to understand what to write. You will not write bol bachan, you will be writing something concrete, okay, with examples, and we have taken a lot of examples. Okay, so Dr. Sam Pitroda once said that biggest tragedy in our nation is that the best minds are working for the rich, okay, who really have no problems, okay, while the poor are left vulnerable and uncared. So this is one perspective. That is why we need dedication. You can end your answer with this. Another example is public service must be more than doing a job efficiently and honestly. It must be complete, this is the same quote which we saw in the starting. So this is another way to end. Like I said, okay, like you can use this quote in introduction and conclusion. Hence, it can be said that dedication is necessary for civil services. So this is how you should study a topic also. Relate, since it's a civil services exam, do the topic theoretically, obviously, in ethics. Have examples. One example should be of normal life or normal example, wherein you take famous examples, okay, or standard examples. One from your life, one from civil services. That's it. Okay, this is what I have tried also. Okay, so make a list of every chapter, make a chapter wise list of examples, all right, and some quotes. Okay, so here I would like to just give you an example how public sector is different from non-profit sector. UPSC is known to be unpredictable, so just to know, okay, how they are different, because both serve the public only in the end. But how does the public sector differ from non-profit one? See, in public sector you adjust to a lot of society values. In non-profit you just want to see the donor's priority. Okay, in public sector there are a lot of rules, okay, due to which red tapeism and all that. Okay, non-profit does not have such limitations. Okay, we have seen the image or the popularity of public servants are connected with the image of government, but in non-profit there is again no such limitation. Okay, usually public sector includes non-profit. Okay, it is superior than non-profit. Non-profit is viewed as a subordinate of public sector. Better employment, this is not not that important. Again, similarities, both are not for profit, they serve the public at the end. Okay, they both are dedicated to public values and to increase citizen or increase citizens life. Okay, just an example, like on civil services day, this is an MP, I think, from northeast. He wished everybody and saluted salute to the commitment of civil servants. See, commitment towards public service and excellence is because of their dedication that government is able to reach common man programs, common man, and enable smooth functioning. See, so by dedication, proper implementation of government programs can also be done. Obviously things will be implemented, please try to understand the difference. In commitment you will implement things, but in dedication it will be effective, or let's say efficient. Alright, so dedication is just better than that, it goes beyond commitment. It is commitment is not a bad thing. Alright, so here the dedication part is over. Alright, so let's move on to our next topic, tolerance. Okay, so again, before introducing this topic and understanding its various dimensions, let us see few quotes, because this will help you in essay also. Whatever quotes I am discussing, please note them down, take a screenshot and note them down. It will help you in essays also. Okay, sometime in essays what happens, when you don't have a new idea, you can, if you remember the quote, you can derive some idea from it and write it as your own. So this is a sort of a life hack. Okay, so it's important to remember quotes so that you have some new ideas in the examination. Okay, and such quotes can be used in conclusion, body, and introduction, but they should be relevant. Always remember that. If you can justify introducing a quote and you can relate it with the topic or the question asked, you will get good marks. So Gandhiji said, anger and tolerance are the enemies of correct understanding. Why understanding? Because why I've put this quote first. There are other quotes also, but why I've put this quote over here, because it focuses on understanding. So tolerance is basically you understand other people's views, you understand other people's culture, you try to understand everybody around you. That is tolerance in one line. Okay. Now Helen Keller said the highest result of education is tolerance, because education not is knowledge plus value. So all these values lead to tolerance. Tolerance means, we just discussed a simple sentence, that you try to understand things and people around you. Alright, JFK said, tolerance implies no lack of commitment to one's own beliefs. Rather, it condemns the oppression of or persecution of others. Basically, it means that tolerance doesn't mean that you are not committed to your own beliefs. See, sometimes when people tolerate other, it doesn't mean that you don't have your own beliefs, or you don't have some conviction, or you're not a person of high integrity. Point is, it condemns, tolerance condemns persecution or oppression of other people. Okay, basically it is against intolerance and the result of intolerance. Oppression and persecution is result of intolerance only. Okay, tolerance of intolerance is cowardice. There is a famous quotation, I am paraphrasing that quotation, that only thing for the bad guys to win is for the good guys to do nothing. So if you tolerate something which is intolerable, then you are a coward. Tolerance is giving to every other human being every right that you claim for yourself. So it basically means being fair, being equal, treating others equally. Alright, so now let's study tolerance. Tolerance is basically, like I told you, that you try to understand things around you, things and people around you, views of the people, culture of the people. Okay, so it is an appreciation and acceptance of rich diversity of our world, form of expression, how people behave. Okay, so culture of the world and how other people behave, it is the understanding of it, appreciation of it. Okay, literally it means that you tolerate existence of any other thing which you disagree with, and those things can be opinion and behavior of people. Now just think, what is around you, other people are around you, right? So they have some opinion and they behave in certain way. So just tolerating that, okay, you don't need to accept it, you just need to let it be. All right, you don't need to stop them from doing it until unless they are hurting someone. Okay, now how do we basically increase tolerance? By knowledge, openness, communication, freedom of thought, by having a conscience, listening to conscience. Okay, now tolerance is important because it it upholds human right, pluralism, democracy, harmony, and rule of law. This is a very important line. Okay, this can be made into a 100-word answer also. Okay, when you will basically explain the meaning of human rights, pluralism, democracy, harmony, we'll see some of it. Okay, the important ones. Okay, so these are all definitions, different definitions, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it is accepting that the human beings are diverse in their behavior, thought, and values. Okay, and they have the equal right to live in peace and to be as they are. Basically, tolerance is acceptance, and it is not imposition or force. Okay, all right, so this, our views cannot be imposed on somebody else. So tolerance has so many dimensions, but basically it means accepting things around you, in simple words. Okay, let us now try to understand some applications of it, okay, or basic things. Basically, tolerance means resilience. Okay, tolerance leads to, or let's say we will see how it leads to things. Okay, it leads to resilience. Okay, because you try to understand people, so you become more understanding of people. You have you develop patience toward things, so in the end you become resilient, okay, towards basically non-interference of people in your own thinking. Because once you become tolerant, you become resilient to basically people changing that attitude of yours, what I'm trying to say. Okay, so your tolerance increases. Okay, you try to understand people more, your patience increases. Okay, this and what else can we see? We can see in Indian culture we have a lot of tolerant values that has led to resilience. How our culture has survived despite so many invasions, right? Similarly, our Indian civilization, it has also survived due to the tolerant factor that we have so many communities living in one subcontinent. Okay, all this has led to resilience of Indian culture and Indian civilization. You have read in world history that many other old basically civilizations fell and Indian civilization has still survived. Okay, one example of this in our current scenario is constitutional values. Okay, it has article 19. Okay, then value of liberty, fraternity, all these are to increase tolerance. Okay, this is one angle of studying tolerance. Let me explain this a little bit more, why this survived. Okay, not just because they were tolerant, but what happened was, okay, although I did tell you, but the term was missing here, unity in diversity, that we are accepting people who are from different culture. Best example is Parsis. Okay, Iranians who came, and so on. So unity in diversity is our strength. This is why it is our strength, because it has made us resilient. Why? Because we are tolerant toward many cultures. All right, so this is related to GS1 and you can write it here in this way because now you know the value behind it. Okay, all right, so since we have seen tolerance, let's now see intolerance also. Intolerance, basically it means that you don't accept others' views, because tolerance is accepting other views, right? So basically you try to oppose it. That can lead to injustice. Okay, marginalization of people. Okay, now intolerance comes from where? Because you do some value judgment that this is bad, okay, this is against my own values. Value judgment basically terming something good or bad. Okay, then you might have some prejudice, like that community is bad, this caste is bad, and so on. Okay, effect is worst, that it is affecting our development, right? Because when you don't let some people participate fruitfully in the economy, okay, what will happen? Obviously we'll lose out on GDP and quality of life improvement. Okay, some examples that we can see is mob lynching, moral policing during Valentine Day and in cities and rural areas both. Mob lynching, people doing certain kind of work, okay, like cow, work related to cows, dead cows, they are also getting killed. Okay, food habits based on beef, etc., such things has happened, people have been killed, right? So this is all because of intolerance. Although you might be thinking that this is a law and order problem also, but since we are studying the ethics paper, we will see the values behind it, and the value is, or the moral reason or ethical reason is, lack of tolerance, lack of understanding, lack of compassion, lack of empathy. Use these words so that it gives weight to your answer. All right. Okay. Now the last point in intolerance or tolerance, not exactly the last point, but last point in this slide, that should we tolerate an intolerant? Okay. Should we be tolerant towards an intolerant person? Should we? What do you think? Can you think of anything? What is your sixth sense saying? What is the first reaction that you're getting? Remember that, okay? So see, the point is, in one line, no. After a limit, like I said, it is cowardice. We discussed a quote recently that it is cowardice only. So first of all, courage is a value which is needed for progress. So if you are tolerant and you are letting intolerance grow, you are being a non-courageous person, okay, a person who is a coward. So first point is that it will lead to cowardice and it will affect the harmony. For example, if you are sitting with a friend and that friend is total misogynist, basically a person who hates women, okay, I think you know about this. So if that person, okay, it goes against integrity, I'll tell you how. This is the example. Okay, so two things, it goes against integrity because I will take the example just after this. So it goes against integrity, okay, because if you uphold a value of tolerance, right, compassion, empathy, understanding towards people, then it goes against your own integrity to let a intolerant person flourish. Now example is that let's say you have a friend who is a misogynist and that person goes on speaking negative about women, but you know that not all women are like that, and the way the person is speaking, no woman is like that. So what will you do? Obviously you should stand up to that person, otherwise you will feel cognitive dissonance, that you don't believe in this, but why did you let your friend say all this, and why did you let him basically. So if you are letting him, you are experiencing that and you will follow that or you are actually not condemning it, so basically you are supporting it, or as we there is a word, tacit acceptance. You did not oppose, but you, so basically you accepted, right? When you didn't say no, it actually means yes. If the person is saying, you support it, right? If you are not opposing that person. So please try to understand this, that it needs courage. Okay, it's cowardice if you let intolerance go. Integrity, it affects your integrity, it will lead to cognitive dissonance. So example is, if your one of your friend is misogynist, okay, and the person actually thinks that women are inferior and they should be and totally fixated on gender roles, okay, and such things. So that person needs to be told that please do not think this way, this is not the right way, okay, and you need to stand up to the person politely, of course, but still you need to stand up so that the person understands that whatever he is thinking is not right, okay. Now how can, just a second, how can intolerance be countered? Simple, first by law. Make some laws, implement them, right? Not just making law, but implement them. Value education. If you provide enough information to people, basically like telling your kids, please read other cultures books also. Please go to festivals of other cultures. So you understand that indirectly all are same. So that is access to information. Individual awareness, okay, that other people are equal, every human is equal, things like this, because we are not going to discuss law here. Law, one point is done, but other things are values. But with answer is also not complete, although I would say that you put it on the fifth point, okay, or let's say fourth. This is also governance part. Fourth point, first 3 points should be this and this. Fighting intolerance requires local solution, because some places some community might be different, caste might be different, so at that place local solutions are required, because people need to understand, because grassroots democracy will lead to national level democracy, okay. Root level caste removal will lead to national level caste removal. So we need to first focus on the grassroots and fight intolerance at that place. Now another quote, okay, So basically this is only on that part where we read that we should not allow intolerance to grow. See the paradox of tolerance. Okay, unlimited tolerance must lead to disappearance of tolerance, because if you keep tolerating everything, ultimately everybody will do whatever they like. They will never try to understand anybody else. Okay, for example, if there are riots going on somewhere, okay, and let's say we don't condemn it, okay, and riots keep on going on, they keep increasing in the future, so what will happen? It will be intolerance everywhere, right? So tolerance will disappear. So too much of everything is bad, so unlimited tolerance also is bad. So if we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against intolerance, then tolerant will be destroyed, and tolerant basically tolerant person will be destroyed, and tolerance, the value, will also be destroyed. So basically the point is, we need to stand up to tolerance. We need to defend the tolerant people and the tolerant society and the tolerance value. Now we come to the next point. Why to be tolerant? As simple as that. Okay, because first of all, it is root of other values. Okay, root of other values like objectivity. We have read about it in previous lecture also, right? So objectivity and empathy. Why? Because if you're not tolerant, if you will not listen to the person, how will you understand the other person's problem? That is sympathy, empathy. We will read about them. Okay, objectivity means that you treat people fairly or equally. How will you treat them until unless you are actually listening to problems faced by other people other than your own religion, other than your own caste, right? It's the constitutional duty. How? Can you think of anything? Can you relate to GS2? Basically it is because of the article 19. Okay, and tolerant or tolerance is inherent in secularism. You can understand this by unity in diversity. Okay, article 19, freedom of speech, and tolerance is inherent in secularism. All India services, this the IAS, IPS or the grade A services, all are all India services, right? So if a person from Punjab is posted in Tamil Nadu, and obviously there is a huge cultural shock. So if the person is not tolerant and is not basically does not have empathy towards the people's problem in Tamil Nadu, he will not become a able administrator. So basically to deliver the service and for also mental peace, tolerance is required so that the person is able to assimilate or get socialized into the culture of the different state. Okay, so they have to keep their civil servants need to keep their belief and belief aside, okay, and serve the people as and when required. Okay, social servants civil servants are role models. What does it, obviously I think you understand what is a role model. Okay, and how does this affect? This affects because the things that you do get highlighted in the media, get highlighted in the local media, national media, right? So people will start doing things that you are doing. Okay, this is basically a demonstrative effect. That this will also, demonstrative effect is a keyword. Basically your staff will see what you are doing, so staff also adopts that way of doing things. If you are corrupt, staff will also start doing that. And that's a different example. If you are tolerant, if you are understanding towards people's problem, the junior staff will also start doing that. The local politician might also get affected by it positively, and so on. Social capital gets enhanced. I think we have read about social capital before. If we have not, then I'll just explain it to you briefly, that it is the shared values that allows society to work together. Okay, and society is made of individuals. So basically it is the way by which individuals can work together. Okay, social capital is basically shared values which help individuals to work together, as simple as that. Okay, so it will get enhanced if you are tolerant toward other people. What will it lead to? It will lead to holding hands, right? Any injustice is intolerance. any injustice is intolerance. So as a civil servant, whether you are a judge or IAS or IPS or IRS, you need to further the cause of justice. You need to work for the cause of justice. Okay, and anything that does not lead to justice is leading to intolerance. Okay, so as a civil servant, this is why we are, although we need to study from the general perspective, but since this is a UPSC exam and if UPSC asks, you need to focus on civil services, so that's why we are taking examples of civil services. It promotes overall harmony in the society because we will try to understand other people, as simple as that. Okay, okay, one thing, social capital will get enhanced. So capital here is the trust among people. So if you trust each other, tolerance will increase. You will try to understand, okay, and you will become more trustworthy yourself also, and you will start trusting other also. So social capital will obviously increase by this. Okay, one example, let's take an international example of Holocaust. Okay, that happened during the time of under basically Hitler. Okay, so the Holocaust, sorry, this is an example, okay, when let's say tolerance was not considered important. Tolerance was not considered important. Okay, so and what it led to? It led to death of millions of people. So we need to remember, this is an example, and we need to remember from this that we need to accept or embrace behavior. Okay, no matter where they come from and what they think. Okay, all right. Now this is one statement under the argumentative Indian, that basically, the photo is blurred, sorry for that, that Indians are basically argumentative. India has culture of argument rather than intolerant. This question can come, that are Indians intolerant? Whatever things are happening in India, is this leading to an intolerant society? So there are 2-3 parts. One, you can say that all these incidents are pocket incidents. Okay, but things are definitely changing in some areas where intolerance is increasing, definitely, but overall still the balance is in the favor of tolerance because of the widespread condemnation that these incidents receive. You must have seen, right? Every news channel condemns it. Many people take out rallies. So such things, basically, for one incident where 5 to 10 people are involved, or let's say in mob lynching 50 people are involved, 50 lakh people condemn it. So on the balance of it, people are tolerant. Second point I want to discuss, another point is, people are argumentative in India and not intolerant. That is, we argue our point. We do not impose it. Many people do not impose it. Okay, popular media might have you believe that people are intolerant in India, but if you look at actual culture of India, people are very argumentative. We discuss, okay, our culture of, let me tell you a Sanskrit term, okay. Shastrat, okay. Basically, it means intellectual debate. This has been going on. This is ingrained in our culture. Okay, a famous one was with Shankaracharya. Okay, so Shastrat basically is our culture wherein we indulge in intellectual debate. You can use this in conclusion. Okay, in this answer, if a question comes that, or it can be used in society paper 1 also, that is intolerance increasing. Okay, overall. Okay, so intellectual debate is in our culture only, right? So people are argumentative here, not intolerant. And second point about this, okay, for every incident, equal condemnation, equal nahi, more disproportionately high condemnation is received by such incidents. Okay. Another example can be Obama. He was quite tolerant in his international policies, especially towards Iran and all. Okay, and he was also tolerant to religious diversity. Okay. Now just one thing, where does ego come from? Source of ego inside the person. Can you think? Ego, sorry, sorry. Ego leads the source of intolerance, I wanted to say. Okay, so ego is the reason of intolerance. Okay, if a person has a lot of ego, sorry, if the person has a lot of ego, that will lead to intolerance in the society, in the person itself, and that will lead to sometime, let's say, anger, and that leads to mob lynching and all. Okay, so tolerance, basically we need to have it towards culture and towards people's opinion also. Okay, ways to increase intolerance: follow constitutional values, article 19, preamble, brotherhood and fraternity, equality, liberty. Okay, value education, tell that how we have read about value education. Okay, enlightened socialization, this means this is a term which I have included here, is basically the parents need to teach their kids to socialize in an enlightened way by by basically attending other cultures festival. Okay, reading about other cultures books, and in the end realizing that almost everybody says the same thing, like Sai Baba used to say, sabka malik ek. Okay, there is an international day of tolerance. It is declared by UN, basically UNESCO, in 1995. It is celebrated on 16 November. Okay, it's just like 10 days away this year. Okay, so basically the thing we discussed over here, that is intolerance increasing in India. For that, what you can conclude is, or what you can write in body is other points. Democracy is prevalent in India and majority of people believe in democracy. Okay, so when we follow democracy, intolerance will decrease. Okay, and people do follow it. All right, also we follow it as a constitutional policy. Okay, so and you can also write, like, intolerance is not just good or important for civil servant, but also for, let's say, every citizen. And if people become intolerant, then law should take its course, legal action. Okay, all right, so this is why again we need value education. For constitutional values we need to follow, and we need to have enlightened socialization. Okay, do remember mentioning democracy and constitutional values. Okay, now just another thing which a small thing which I want to add over here, that intolerance, like I said, it is basically injustice. Okay, it goes against free thinking. Clamps it. Okay, promotes violence. And it's a result of, or I shouldn't write it here, small mindedness leads to intolerance, and that leads to injustice, clamping of free thinking, it promotes violence. Okay, so that's all for tolerance. I hope you have understood this. Now we shall be moving on to the last part of this lecture, values of empathy and compassion towards weaker section. So as with every topic, we'll start with some perspective. Empathy is basically feeling or understanding what somebody else is feeling. Okay, and kindness is empathy in action. In empathy, you want to help. Okay, sorry, that is compassion, ignore that. Okay, anyways, so empathy is feeling or understanding what someone else is feeling. Kindness is empathy in action. Okay, we will see a lot of such terms today. One of the most important quotes is, we need to have empathy. When we lose empathy, we lose our humanity. So empathy is an integral part of being a human. That's how important it is empathy. That is why we need to study it and study empathy and compassion. Now, whenever somebody is in distress, how do you behave? If you feel as the same as that person, like let's say that person is feeling fever of 102 degree, and obviously any person on earth has once in their life suffered 102 degree fever. Okay, so you will be able to relate with the person. You will feel the same emotion as the person. Okay, sympathy is feeling sorrow or concern for the person. Let's say that person suffered or survived an earthquake attack or tsunami attack or something horrible like this, but not everybody goes through that. So you are not able to relate, but you feel sorrow, you feel sadness and concern for the person. Oh ho ho, is it does that happen, did that happen, oh ho ho, something like this. Okay, in the empathy part, you actually feel the pain. Here you do not feel the pain, but you feel concern. Okay, compassion is you feel care towards somebody and warmth, and basically this includes a feeling of action, that you want to help the person. Okay, the main difference between compassion and empathy is that compassion includes action, empathy includes the feeling, same feeling as the person. We'll see in more clarity. Okay, so let's take an overview. Apathy means you don't care. Okay, you don't care what somebody else feels, as simple as that. Sympathy means you know how somebody is feeling, you know, but you cannot actually feel it. You can think that feeling in the mind, that somebody might be sad or happy. It is not difficult to imagine, right? So you are imagining here. In empathy, you actually feel that sadness and happiness of the other person. Alright, empathy means you know how somebody else is feeling. Sorry, you feel how somebody else is feeling. Okay, knowing how the other person feels is sympathy, feeling what other person is feeling is empathy. Compassion is you will go and talk to the person, can I help you, or can I alleviate your problem, how can I help, how can I solve this problem. Okay, so this is the overview, simple one line definition. Okay, now we'll come to the technical definitions. Okay, so let's take a case study to understand this apathy, sympathy, empathy and compassion. So in the case study, let's take a case study of a migrant labor who has come from a distant who has come from one state to another, but somehow due to some issues he does not have a proper ID card. Okay, he goes to a police station, or let's say not even police station, let's say he goes to a bureaucratic office. Okay, department where such IDs are issued. So he goes to the, and the person first person he interacts with is indifferent. Okay, he is the, let's say the migrant is telling the issues he is facing, but the official person who is listening is indifferent. Okay, that person is not feeling anything and not even paying proper attention to the emotions of the person. Okay, they are just sitting like okay, okay, I say something like this, because there is no concern or excitement for the person, for the migrant by the first official. Okay, so apathy is a state of indifference. The word I have highlighted is the crux of the apathy. Apathy is when you are indifferent, that आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, you don't care, as simple as that. Okay, so the first official person is indifferent toward the plight of migrant. Now when the migrant goes to the second person, that second person has a reaction of kindness. Okay, that second officer has a reaction of kindness to the migrant. He offers him a seat. Okay, so and tries to, and tells him that he understands that the issue and stops his own work. The officer stops his own work and listens. stops work and listens, but after listening goes back to work. This is important. Okay, this is how we will differentiate other things also. People will listen, but what they will do after listening is also important. Okay, so the second officer shows kindness, listens carefully, stops his own work and listens, but after that goes back to work. Okay, this is sympathy. One thing you need to understand is, sorry, here spelling is here. Two things. First of all, it is momentary. Okay, the kindness that comes is momentary. Please remember these highlighted words. Here, real understanding of problem is absent. Okay, now the migrant goes to the third person or the third officer. Okay, now what? Now we'll study about empathy. Okay, so basically, just to repeat, sympathy is a instinctive reaction of kindness. Okay, it's an instinct. You're not thinking anything, it's just an instinct. Like when you touch a hot plate, your hand moves away instantaneously. Okay, now in the when the migrant goes to the third officer, that person actually experiences the emotions because he is able to relate to the migrant, because he thinks that yes, even I know how it feels to come to a strange city. I also came for UPSC preparation and all. Okay, or any other preparation or any other condition. So that officer is able to emotionally relate to the migrant. The officer can actually understand what the migrant is going through. The officer becomes nostalgic. Okay, so this person, this third officer, puts himself into others shoes, puts himself into others, the migrant shoes. Okay, so here understanding is there. Okay, so empathy involves putting yourself in another person's place to understand the pain and sorrow. Here real understanding comes of the problem. Empathy is more sustainable. Like sympathy was momentary, empathy goes on for a long time. Okay, and involves deeper relations as compared to sympathy. So basically sympathy is momentary, empathy is longer. Okay, sympathy has no real understanding of the issue. Here there is a real understanding. Okay, now the migrant comes to the fourth officer. All right, now this officer not only understands the problem, that is, he includes the empathy. Okay, the concept of empathy is already included. He understands but also takes action. He goes with him, okay, and he guides him. He gives his own number, he guides the person, go to this department, talk to him, tell them I have referred you. Okay, if and if it, let's say if it is the office in the same office as the fourth officer, the person will take the migrant to the concerned department and guide him. All right, so doing such thing is being compassionate. Okay, so compassion involves not only understanding, which we already saw, it is there in empathy of a person's sorrow, but a strong desire to help. Please remember this, action is important here, is the keyword, to alleviate the reason of that sorrow. Okay, in compassion you put somebody else first, you try to imagine, okay, and you relate, and then you see that if this happened to me, what would I do? Then you try to help the other person. Okay, so best example is Mother Teresa. Okay, compassion is what made Mother Teresa leave her motherland and serve selflessly in Kolkata. Okay, so please understand this. In apathy there is indifference. Okay, you don't care how the other person feels. In sympathy you know how other person feels. Okay, you are not still able to feel that, but in empathy you feel what other person is feeling, and in compassion you feel what the other person is feeling and you do something to help. Okay, so I hope you have understood clearly the difference between these four. Okay, now since we are studying it for civil services, so why basically what is the need of empathy and compassion for a civil servant? Now see, what happens is there is an helicopter approach. Okay, or first let us understand helicopter approach. You might have seen that whenever some disaster happens, ministers etc have a survey from the helicopter. In that they are able to think. Okay, that means there is sympathy. They are able to think that what other person might be feeling, but they cannot feel it because they are not on the ground, they are in the helicopter. Okay, so this approach, all right, so that is sympathy, right? It is not empathy. So that is why we need empathy in civil servants, so that they are able to help people who are in trouble. Armchair approaches like sitting in Delhi and designing schemes for East Bihar. Okay, armchair approach means people are sitting on a chair and they do not go into the fields, okay, while designing something. So here also sympathy factor is more. Empathy factor might be there because the person who is designing might have lived in a village, okay, but still when you reach that level already a lot of empathy has gone because you have now lived in cities for a lot of time. So when you are designing schemes for villages sitting in cities, there will obviously some gap. So to close that gap, okay, we need empathy and compassion. Okay, we need people, so we need empathy and compassion because it will make the civil servant people centric by focusing on equity. Why people centric? Because as the career grows, or some people, okay, some civil servants, they are self serving and they do not put people first. Okay, they are not people centric. Focusing on equity means you treat unequal people unequally. Okay, if somebody is poor, you give some more concessions to that person. If somebody is rich, you give less concession to that person. As simple as that. If somebody is rich, you are not going to run these schemes for them, right? Like LPG, when Honorable Prime Minister requested people and morally persuaded people to give up their connections if they are, sorry, give up their subsidy if they are beyond the bracket, okay, subsidy bracket. So this is how you serve people first, okay, and treat unequals equally. This example fits in both. To tackle, let's say, indifference. Indifference means apathy, right, which is the worst thing that can be in a civil servant, one of the worst things, because that will lead to a lot of other problems. See, what happens is, okay, that kindness in action is compassion. Okay, you can write that here also. I know, just change the topic. So kindness in action is compassion. This is how you can ensure people centricity. Okay, you are kind to people, you can that's how you can focus on equity, because if you are kind, then only you will be able to design good schemes. Okay, obviously it is one of the factors, it is not the sufficient property. Kindness is one of the factors. Now to tackle indifference, what happens is civil servants with time, with tenure, okay, lose a bit of empathy and compassion, and they become indifferent toward people's problem, because when you are used to living with all the facilities, these things tend to happen, not their fault, and they also see that around them, they get everything available for them. So to tackle this indifference, we need to instill empathy and compassion regularly in the serving civil servants. Okay, to bridge the connection between civil servants and common people. See, in India there is lot of this sahab culture, babu culture. Okay, in India there is basically why there is there is higher probability of disconnection between people and civil servants in India. There is higher probability. Okay, because there is a babu culture over here. Okay, people don't think this as service. Majority of them don't think this as service, but as a basically place to rule common people. Okay, that is why whenever you go to an office and the person is not there, they will say कि साहब अभी आए नहीं हैं. Okay, although sahab is a designation, but that goes into people's mind and they start behaving like owners rather than servants of public. Okay, and empathy and compassion can help here once people understand, once the civil servant understands that empathy, that the person feels the pain of common person, then they understand that we are here to serve their needs, serve their priorities, not ours. Okay, because obviously they are in a bad condition, many people are in bad condition. Okay, that is why civil services is called steel structure. Okay, they are the ones who implement those schemes. Okay, now last point is to remove colonial hangover. Okay, the ICS before Britishers, it was called before independence it was called ICS. The Indian Civil Services at that time attracted one of the or let's say most bright British youth, but they still sort of failed to look after the interests of Indians, because they were intelligent, although they were intelligent, but they did not have empathy and compassion towards Indian problems because they never faced it. So they will never be able to feel that, right? So empathy needs feeling and compassion is feeling plus action. So if you are not able to feel what we are going through, how will you help us? Right? And it's not necessary that you need to go through the same thing to feel. Okay, there is a some people are highly empathetic. Okay, they can actually feel sorrow and try to understand. They have wide range of understanding. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next. Okay, so I hope you have understood this, what is the need, okay, and of empathy and compassion for a civil servant. Now let's take some examples. This sahab culture, okay, I said na, there is sahab culture. This is also because of the power asymmetry. You can add this in the last slide only. Before examples, I would like to tell you this. This sahab culture is due to the power asymmetry that is present in our present in India, and due to a cult attitude in people that yes, I have become something, now I am a sahab. Okay, everybody stand ups when I enter the room and so on. Okay, so here one important quote, please write this down. Rudyard Kipling, he said that to walk, okay, to walk among the kings and yet not lose the common touch. I'll repeat again. To walk among the kings and yet not lose the common touch. So basically, Rudyard Kipling gave us a lesson in humbleness, that okay, fine, you are a king, okay, but you should not lose touch with the common people. Like in the Jodha Akbar movie, it is shown that Akbar goes to the marketplace dressed as a common person. Okay, so fine, it's fine, it's no there is no unethical thing in being a king, but please try to understand what is going on the actual street. Okay, all right, so let's see examples. In Mahabharata it is said that moral sentiment is born in human heart when one start looking at others with empathy. Okay, so morality increases with empathy, as simple as that. Compassion is in the root of the tree called, so sorry, this is dharma. Compassion is in the roots of the tree called dharma. Okay, once you start doing your duty, compassion becomes the part of it. Okay, compassion is the fruit of doing your duty, because compassion involves angle. Compassion involves angle of action. Now, morality comes from empathy and compassion. Basically, this is the conclusion. Morality comes from empathy and compassion, and you can quote Mahabharata on this. Okay. Now, Yudhishthir also said that compassion is the highest duty, highest dharma. Okay. One of the okay. Any topic will be incomplete without discussion of Gandhiji. There is a famous bhajan by Narsim. Sorry. Yeah. Narsim Mehta, my spelling might be wrong here, okay, which says Vaishnav Jan Tere Kahiye, Teje Kahiye. Sorry for the fumbleness. The bhajan says Vaishnav Janto Tene Kahiye, Je Peed Parai Jane Re. Okay, so this basically means God is like a man. Okay, God is like a man which understands pain and sorrow of others. Okay, so the angle is others. So you can quote this, and Gandhiji's favorite bhajan this was. So you can quote this in exam also directly. Okay, one of the examples which you can write is recently honorable prime minister, not recently but honorable prime minister has formed this policy and asked old bureaucrats, what I mean is 45 to 50 years, between 60 years, before 60 obviously. So old bureaucrats are asked to go to their first posting, because at that time, at the first posting, people are very enthusiastic. Okay, they are very charged up, they're empathetic, and they want to be honest, and so on. All right, but like I said, that as the service goes on, empathy and compassion gradient decreases. Okay, so the honorable prime minister has asked senior bureaucrats, right, I should not write old, senior bureaucrats to spend 1 week in their first place of posting. Okay, to show them how far the village has come or district has come, and how things can be improved, so that the armchair thinking can go away, or armchair attitude. Okay, so let's summarize, not the topic but just this thing, that why it is important for civil servant. Okay, so understanding the problem, okay, understanding the keyword problem and suffering becomes more important if we have empathy, or becomes more easy if we have empathy towards people, right? Now in developing countries, please remember that in developing countries this becomes more important because the disconnect increases between bureaucracy and the people. Okay, because the bureaucracy gets trapped in the circle of power, and power attracts people, right? So they become, in the circle of power elite, and they lose touch with the common person. Okay, so this is why armchair bureaucrat cannot understand the real world suffering of a common person. Okay, now there is another thing, soil of the sun, soil, son of soil, son of soil argument. Okay, that the person, if posted in the home state, will be more effective, okay, will be more compassionate, more empathetic towards people, will implement things better. But see, the thing is, this argument that the affinity with the soil of the land, okay, gives you basically better ears to the ground, is being challenged in recent times. Okay, recently it is being challenged a lot. Okay, because people who want to be effective, they are effective in the other states also. Except few highly motivated people, everybody becomes the part of the system. Okay, they don't want to change basically anything, they become just lethargic or become part of the system only. Okay, and many people who are from humble backgrounds and from the home state itself, they also have become the part of power elite rather than changing things for the common person. Okay, so son of the soil theory is also basically refuted on this fact. Okay, all right. So this is the empathy continuum. Basically, reaction of empathy will lie between this only, that either you will totally be ignorant or you will be totally empathetic. Okay, and or you will be compassionate. Okay, positive actions. Okay, you don't need to remember this. I just wanted you to understand empathy as a concept fully. So basically, negative actions are also there. Okay, wherein you prejudice against somebody, and that leads to anger, or let's say firing of somebody due to prejudice. Okay, so next, ignore somebody. Okay, selfishness, indifference, you don't care. Then start sympathy, empathy. Okay, this is apathy. This is what we saw today. Apathy, sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Okay, this is the empathy continuum, wherein people's reaction to somebody in distress, or just basically people reaction to somebody. Okay, now what is compassion continuum? It is part of empathy continuum only, but it starts with sympathy, wherein you have thoughts. Okay, that is, you feel, you don't feel, you think, okay, that person must be sad, okay, because of this. In empathy you actually feel thoughts and feelings. See, why am I sharing all this is because this is value addition. Okay, that is my role. Everybody can teach you this, but when somebody tells you the other perspective of dealing with a thing, okay, so I don't think anybody teaches this. Okay, and I'm also not focusing too much on this, but I just want to tell you how things are working in the real world, not just the theory. Similarly, this will make you understand things better. In sympathy, you just see that somebody is in trouble, okay, and you have thoughts and prayers go out to them. In empathy, you actually feel it, thoughts and feelings. In compassion, thought is there, feeling is there, action is there. So now you can see how sympathy builds to empathy and empathy builds to compassion. Okay, sorry for the blur image. There are 4 elements of empathy. Okay, you understand and see, you see their world. First of all, you understand their feelings. Okay, you appreciate them as human beings, that is, you do not judge them. If they are suffering, you don't go and tell them, oh, you are not talented, you will obviously suffer, or why are you crying so much. You don't do that. Okay, and then you communicate your understanding, that yes, I understand what you are going through, I feel you. Okay, so you feel what other person is feeling, so communicating that feeling is important. It's not like you can be just feeling somebody's pain and just sitting quietly. No, you need to tell them so that they can calm down. They will see that somebody understands them, because in the end, what all we need somebody to understand us, right? So empathy is, that is why it is very important. Okay, now how empathy can be used for better communication, this is not in the syllabus, you can ignore this, but I just want to tell you. By making eye contact, okay, by making good expressions, okay, by having good posture, that is, you are not basically you are not lying. Okay, मतलब आप लेटे नहीं हो couch पे. If you are talking to somebody, you are sitting erect and looking at them properly. Okay, affect is the emotional, that is, you emotionally feel them. Tone of the voice is not mocking, it is calm. It is, even if they are crying a lot, even if they are angry, you are calm. You hearing the whole point of the person, and then you give your response. Like I said, this communicate, you have to communicate your understanding. Okay, so this is how empathy can be used for better communication. And if you observe, it is the acronym of empathy only. Now we'll see briefly the other terms, okay, without which this discussion would be incomplete. Altruism is doing something good selflessly for others. Okay, it is about action. Okay, you recovered from cancer and you feel the pain of other cancer patients. This is empathy, you feel the pain. But if you build a charitable hospital, this is altruism. Now you must be confused. Then what is the difference with compassion? See, two things can lead to altruism. Okay, one is compassion, other is selfish reason, some selfish reason. Both can lead to altruism. Like saving tax can also lead to altruism. Okay, so this is the difference between altruism and compassion. Also, in compassion, it is always, it is not necessary that you always act. Okay, but you want to act, that is the thing. Like a stranger is crying on the bus, you feel and you go talk to him, that what happened buddy, are you okay, can I help? See, this is compassion, but you might not be able to help. Okay, or there might be some situation that even you can't even go and talk to the person. Okay, so compassion, in compassion you have a feeling of acting, but you will not actually act sometimes. Okay, although a lot of time altruism is not selfish, but I'm just telling that there might be some other reason, for example some selfish reason or personal reason, you can say. Better word is personal reason, not selfish. Okay, selflessness, basically focusing on others need more than yours. Benevolence is basically just compassion. Okay, pity is just feeling sorry. Okay, or basically you are regretting that, for you're regretting something for someone, like some person, your friend didn't score well in the exam, so you're like, oh it's okay, you will be fine, you study hard next time, something like this. Okay, I hope this is clear, and it's better to compare things. So that is why I've taken these terms, okay, which we don't use in real life. Sorry, we don't use much in real life, but still we should know. Now, how to become empathetic to others? Okay, what do we need to do? First of all, we need to demonstrate active listening. Okay, that you are asking good questions. Okay, and you do not interrupt in the communication. Okay, like a friend is telling you that she or he broke up with her spouse or his spouse, so you listen to them, you actively listen. Active listening means you pay active attention, you and ask good questions. In passive listening, you just listen to them without asking any counter question. Okay, you recognize their body language, okay, their voice, their tone. Okay, basically non-verbal communication. Okay, you pick up the signals when they are not feeling comfortable, then you basically a tap on the shoulder, okay, or holding hands. If basically if let's say it's your sister or your brother, basically it's your sibling, okay, so holding hands is okay in that case, I guess. Okay, so holding hands, okay, hugging, okay. Next, you recognized poor whatever thoughts they have not been able to express. This is quite difficult, I admit, but this is how you become more empathetic to others. Okay. How to inculcate compassion for weaker section. This is our topic, right? Now see, first you teach them. Okay, would you teach them what? Four noble truths of Buddhism. Okay, you tell them please go visit the old age homes. Okay, please go visit slums, see how they live, see how the sanitation is going over there, see how pipeline is basically laid over there, see how they dispose of garbage and all that. Okay, so such things are very learning experience. Okay, that is why in training period also in Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy there is a village visit. Okay, by loving others. Okay, basically you want to help others. Okay, but how will you do it until unless you think good about them? Okay, so you have to think good things about people you respect and love. Okay, like your inner circle, like family, close friends. Okay, but point is this is very easy. Now you have to extend this to people beyond your inner circle, like maid, okay, or people you don't interact on daily basis. Give me some example, or can you think of some example? Basically a person, shopkeeper, some random beggar. Okay, so you have to extend this feeling towards them. Okay, one example is IAS probationers are sent to Bharat Darshan for similar reasons. Okay, to understand the diversity and grow compassion towards others. Okay, so it's not like if you are not feeling something towards somebody you cannot learn it. You can, if you actually go and see them in action, because you cannot live everything, right? Empathy is feeling somebody else what somebody else is feeling, so that is not always possible. Okay, because you might not have gone through the same scenario, right? And every life is vastly different, so it's not necessary that you will also be able to properly feel, but you can increase that quotient of empathy by living their life or living as closely as possible. That is why Bharat Darshan, that is why village visit. Okay, so what do we need to do? So basically, as a competent civil servant, you need to focus on compassion. But sometimes you might be thinking that if we focus too much on empathy and compassion, we might be tempted to bend the rules. Right? Okay. So basically, we'll come back to this. But first, you need to start by avoiding confines of power. And even if you cannot avoid it due to some or the other reason, you need to develop a reminder in yourself by repeatedly going to villages. As simple as that. Why not use the idea of honorable prime minister to all the ages of civil servants? Okay, okay, so this thing is there. Okay, first you do that. Just I'm telling you solutions what you can write in exam. Next thing is about rule bending, which I was talking about. No, that is not advisable at any cost. You cannot break the rules. Okay, you can maybe stretch them, Okay, like if there is a deadline for tomorrow, you can request, or if, because see, there is a lot of discretion involved in governance. Okay, where in policy the decision is left to the person heading the scheme. So let's say if you are heading the scheme, but there is deadline tomorrow, so you extend the deadline by 1 day. Okay, that is discretion. You are not breaking any rule, you are just stretching it. So that can be done, but please remember that every empathetic and compassionate, or let's say only compassionate, every compassionate action needs to be in the confines of law. Okay, all right. So there are many cases, we will see that, we will see this in case studies. You might have been thinking that not many examples today. Okay, but this will come more basically clearly in case studies. Okay, we will take 3 to 4 sessions, or maybe even 5 sessions on case study if needed. Okay, so we will deal with a lot of case studies in that. So what is your perspective in the end? What is the perspective? See, we did not discuss this till now, right? So that is why I want to give you this perspective, that first I wanted you to understand what are all these things, and then what basically a civil servant faces. Okay, so at lot of times the civil servant has a discretion, so that can be applied, but you have to tell in the exam to the examiner that all of these things should be done in the ambit of law. Okay, so that is all for this session. Let's quickly have a recap. Quite a lot we covered today. Okay, so we continued the session of foundational values. First we saw dedication to public service. Okay, then we understood all its basically we understood it in 360 degrees. Okay, then we saw the constraints, why public service dedication is needed. Okay, because there are a lot of issues involved, and to overcome them dedication is needed. There is an ample list of examples, you can use it. This is a very good example, a lesser known example. What is the way forward? I gave you. Okay, we also saw the difference between profit and public and non-profit sector. Then there is this is just an example. Then we came to the another value, which is tolerance. We started with the perfect quote for our topic. Okay, then we saw other quotes. So we understood what is tolerance. Okay, basically understanding what is going on around you. We saw what is intolerance. Obviously, without understanding intolerance, discussion would be incomplete, because in UPSC, please understand that even though you might have been asked about A, you might have or you might be expected to write about B. Okay, not too much, but a little bit also, because this makes the humanities answer 360 degree. This is not an engineering exam, right? You write to the point. Although yes, they expect you to write to the point answers only, but they want you to be as wide as possible and related to other sections of the GS paper and basically your life. Now, how to counter intolerance? Okay, we saw 5 steps. Then we understood what is the paradox of tolerance, why to be tolerant. Okay, then we saw, are Indians actually intolerant or what? How to increase tolerance. Okay, then we came to the final discussion, empathy and compassion. I have combined these two. These are different, separately written in the syllabus, that empathy and compassion, but we have combined this in this topic because they are related. So we started with a fantastic quote again. Then how do we behave when somebody is in distress? Okay, so this is just an overview, just to tell you how to relate everything. Then we saw one line definitions. Then we saw technical definitions with example, proper example. Okay, then what is the role of empathy and compassion in a life of civil servant? Okay, then we saw examples from Mahabharat, Yudhishthir. Okay, 2 quotes from Mahabharat and about Yudhishthir. Then we saw practical step given by the Honorable Prime Minister. Then we saw the stages. Okay, then we saw 4 elements of empathy. How to communicate better using empathy. You might be able to use it in real life. Okay. Then other terms, altruism, selflessness, benevolence, Pt. Then how to become more empathetic to others. Okay, what do we need to do? Then how to inculcate compassion. Then we understood what is the perspective we need to take home. with respect to empathy and compassion. Okay. We will be seeing basically impartiality and non-partisanship. Impartiality plus non-partisanship. Okay, we will be seeing about civil services neutrality. Okay, one extra topic which I want to cover for you is courage, because it is quite important, which is not there in the syllabus, but it applies to a lot of things. And if time permits, we will see Nolan committee reports, otherwise that will be extended to the another lecture. Okay. This is the question for next topic, for the next session. Please write it, please think about it. It is about integrity, that calamity is the best test of integrity. Discuss. Okay, pretty straightforward. You need to just tell by practical examples, although it is not written in the question that you have to discuss with examples, but such things can be best described by examples only. Okay. All right. This is all for this lecture. I hope you have understood the values and significance of them. So please follow this structure only. First you understand the meaning of that thing, then you say examples, then you see other terms, related things, related topics, let's say, and then you have a way forward. That is the perspective which you need to take away from the topic. Break your preparation in these terms. It will be hella easy for you to remember things. Okay, it will become a habit, because when you see all these things translate into current affairs also, because when you start reading an editorial, you will try to find the new terms, you will try to see the examples, then you will try to relate it, and then you will just see the conclusion, what the author is saying. So this is the structure, and this is also you need to write in exam. So while making notes and while writing answers, be structured. Okay, show structural thinking, don't be haphazard. Okay, all right, so this is all for this lecture. We shall meet in the next lecture. All right, bye everyone, take care, thank you for your patience, thank you for listening. See you in the next one. Bye bye.